Strip Club Talk with Jade and Danny. I am Danny.
And I am Jade.
Hey, we got this little thing we do. Try to get it a couple times a month, 3, 4 times a month, if at all possible. Little thing we go through. I'm a strip club DJ. Jade is an entertainer. We've both been in the industry for a while. We like to share some of our thoughts with you guys, and maybe we can give you some tips, and maybe you can give us some back in the comments
Yes.
section. I'm talking suggestions, not tips. Yeah, we got to watch using that word. Everybody's gonna think, "Oh God, they want my money now." So last show we did, we talked about Halloween in the strip clubs, and if you haven't seen that show, you really should go back. We talked about different types of costumes you should wear. Easy ones to get in and out of, keeping in mind that you're still having to do dances and look sexy and everything. So
hmm
we weren't positive on the last show what you were going to do for Halloween. So did you ended up picking out something, right?
So I have two things. I think I'm gonna wear, I probably won't do a contest, but I think on my Friday of working, when we're celebrating, I have this cute little cop outfit that I got. And I like to shop at like Goodwill because it's
Okay.
so cheap. And I find like really good. This is Hustler. This is
Ah,
like little
dirty
booty
cop.
shorts. And the top, I don't know how well it matches, but we're gonna make it work. It says meow, uh, meow.
Yeah. Yeah,
And it's
in
a
the
little
in the
hat.
prison text too. I like that. Now
And I
do you
got
have
some
handcuffs? Because that's going to be the question
I
everybody's going
do.
to
I
ask.
have some fluffy ones. And then my Saturday outfit is Princess Leia.
Ooh, there you
So
go.
that
Yeah,
should be pretty sexy.
Halloween is kind of cool for us this year because it's pretty much the whole weekend. The official
Yeah.
Halloween's on the official Halloween's on Sunday, but it gives us a whole weekend going in. So,
hmm
yeah, that looks good. So, I get to work with you that weekend, so we'll have a little bit
Did
of
you
fun.
did you decide if you're dressing as of anything or
Probably not. I'm in the booth. I won't get out of the booth. It's not like people see me.
yeah,
So, if I do, it'll be something comfortable.
right.
Not anything too drastic.
hmm
So yeah, so I'll be there. So what I wanted to talk about, we talked a little about Halloween. But I think in previous shows we've talked about the peaks and valleys of our industry,
Yes.
meaning there are good months and there are bad months. And if you know about them, then you can kind of plan for them. Jade and I both work in Dayton, Ohio. So we're going to be talking about the Ohio market, but I think it's pretty consistent around the country from what I hear. So you start off with the beginning of the year. That's January.
hmm
January generally takes a really good hit, right? A pretty bad
Yes.
hit.
Oh yeah. Everybody's kind of spent from Christmas and all that. So
Yeah, January's it's not as bad as it used to. It used to take a really hard dip, I think, years ago, because we used to get credit card statements in the mail, and people would
right.
get their credit card statement and go, "I spent how much on what?" But
hmm
now it's not quite so much of a shock because you get your balances updated and stuff on your phone. But
Right.
January still does take a little bit of a hit.
Yeah.
So do you think February for you? I mean, we got Valentine's Day in there. It's a little happier. It's still cold
Yeah.
though.
It's still a little chilly. So I would say coming into January is still kind of people are still kind of laying low, it feels like.
Into
And then
February, you mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
February. Um into February. And then once the holiday comes around for Valentine's Day, I feel like it starts to build back up because people are in a good mood, hopefully in a good mood
Yeah.
around that time, you know. And they're starting to kind of perk back up. They feel like spring is right around the corner. Hopefully we're starting to have some decent days weather-wise here in Ohio. Um, so yeah, I think it starts to kind of build toward the end of February.
Yeah. And then we go into the party month of March. And I say that
hmm
because, you've got St. Patrick's Day. That's March, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, that gets into the big drinking holidays and stuff. What do you think, March? Do you think it starts to pick up again a little bit better? You think
Oh
we're
yeah,
on an
definitely.
upswing?
I think so. I think especially spring break. Like I know a lot of people like to say, yeah, college students are going out of town and doing things, but I think they're also coming home and visiting
Hmm.
family. And they remember their favorite spots when they come home and they plan for it.
Hmm.
So I think March is a great time and it starts to get a little warmer.
Hmm. And I think another thing for entertainers to remember is, you're a lot of entertainers go out on spring break, so your schedule, there's not going to be as many entertainers working,
Hmm.
so you don't have as much competition. Obviously, the
Right.
less girls for you guys, the less girls that are working,
Yes.
the less competition for that particular night.
Hmm.
So that should always help. Then it starts getting into spring, man. April.
Hmm.
What do you think? Do you think when the weather warms up, people go out more?
I think they do. They're excited. They're getting out onto those patio bars and things, and they're lining up what they're doing for the whole weekend, and they have plans. And even if they don't plan on going out after the bar, they end up at the after hour places because they're just in a great mood.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an advantage for us. We're a 5:30
Oh yeah.
a.m. club, so yeah, so that got us to April. Now we're in May.
Hmm.
So we're getting a little now. A lot of people say summer is slow. I
I've heard
don't
that.
really notice it that's starting in May yet. Do you?
I really don't. I feel like it kind of stays consistent throughout. Um, Even when it gets to May, June, July, yeah, a lot of people are taking vacations and doing things, so their money is, going to other things. But I don't really feel like it ever takes too much of a dip during that time.
Mm-hmm. And then comes August. Sorry,
Hmm.
I was really getting you guys all excited.
I
You're on this
know.
big upswing and everything. Then comes August. School goes back.
Yeah.
So for me, I've been in this business a long time. It used to be all schools went back when I was younger. All schools went back on Labor Day, and over the last 20 years or so, they've kind of moved that back into August. It used to be, and when we talk about bars, we're talking about strip clubs, we're talking about regular bars, and we're talking about
Hmm.
like restaurants. Because
Oh
I
yeah,
notice, when you get into the bad season, like when school goes back, restaurants even hurt.
definitely.
But now that it's a little more spread out in August, it's not quite so drastic as it was
Hmm.
20 years ago or 15 years ago, but it's still there. And you think that's because people are in school,
I think
going back to
so.
school?
I think all the prepping for getting back to school, even if it's not like, the college students that are coming, like failing to come in because they're going away to school and prepping for that, even people who have children, the
Yeah.
customers who have children, they're prepping for all of that. There's a lot that goes into getting ready for school time.
And it's
So yeah, I
expensive.
think, yeah, it's expensive. I mean, you got clothes, you've got school supplies, school fees, all kinds of things. So, and
hmm
then just your timing too, it's like everything starts to gear back up.
Okay, so we're at September. We
Mhm.
started at January. We're saying January is low, and then it picks back
Yes.
up through July. Then in August it takes a hard dip. September, mid-September, what do you think is when it comes back?
I think so. Yeah, I think about mid to end of September is when it starts to kind of get going again. People have kind of fallen into their routines of being back in school, and the people are like, okay, now everything's settled. I can start to do something for me now. I can
hmm
go out again.
And it continues to build up in October because we
Oh
have the
yeah,
hype for Halloween. And Halloween
Halloween.
is, I mean, it's so much more of a holiday these days. Again, I've been in the bar business itself for 45 years.
Hmm.
So, Halloween never was that big 20, 30, 40 years ago as it is right now with
Right.
the young adults. It used
Oh
to be
yeah.
more a kids thing, and the adults didn't really get into it as much. So then, October picks up. You get Halloween, November for
Hmm.
you.
I think so. I mean, I know people are doing traveling and things for Thanksgiving and all of that going into Christmas, but I still feel like people are out and they're
Yeah,
in the fall. People are just in a good mood.
yeah. I think break this down a little bit. When you get into Thanksgiving, you get into any holiday weekend. Thanksgiving is one. Labor Day weekend is one. Memorial Day
Hmm.
weekend is one. Especially Labor Day, Memorial Day, because they
Hmm.
always fall on a weekend. Those Fridays and Saturdays are going to be down. Now you're going to have
Yeah.
less customers. You're going to have less entertainers. 4th of July really all depends on what day of the week it falls on.
Hmm.
And then, obviously Thanksgiving is going to be on a Thursday. That Wednesday before Thanksgiving, I'm
Oh
telling you
yeah.
what, man, for us, and I'm sure it's this way for a lot of people, one of the biggest party days of the year.
Oh yeah, by far, definitely, if not the
Yeah.
biggest.
Yeah, so people go out, and then, of course, you got Thanksgiving. I don't
Mhm.
with the whole online shopping thing, I don't think Black Friday kicks in is doesn't hurt us as bad as it used to.
I don't think so. No. It's kind of dying down. People, you can do shopping online Thursday night now.
Mhm.
So even sometimes Wednesday. I mean, they're just, you know, the excitement isn't there as much for that Friday morning get in line. So
Yeah, hell, you can be on your phone shopping on Amazon while you're watching an entertainer get naked, keep one eye on the
literally,
girl,
yeah,
one eye on your Amazon.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and then we get to the fun month, December, Christmas,
mhm.
New Year's Eve, everything like that. Tell me, what you think about Decembers.
I think December is fantastic. I think people are in the giving mood. I think they're excited about the holiday. They are it's cooler, outside, but it's not, at least in Ohio anyway, but it's not extreme yet. So people still are out and people are doing things and they're doing their shopping and then hitting us or hitting whatever club or bar afterwards. So, and when you've already been out all day and you've had a great day of like finding good things, you want to continue.
Mhm. Yeah, I find that people spend money, they get more generous in December. I think it's just we get
Definitely.
looser with our credit cards.
Yeah.
So we start doing that. Unfortunately, this year, 2021, we get into December, Christmas Eve, Christmas night, that's a Friday, Saturday. New Year's
Mhm.
Eve, New Year's night, that's a Friday, Saturday. So, you're gonna hurt the weekends a little bit. I mean, New Year's Eve would
Yeah,
be great, but it would have already been great because it's a Friday. So, I always
exactly.
like when New Year's Eve's hit on a Tuesday or a Wednesday because it gives you
Yeah.
that extra weekend
Mhm.
party
Oh,
night.
yeah. Because people
So,
party all the way through. Yeah.
yeah, December gets there. Biggest tip we can tell everybody is save your money because if you remember the
Hmm.
beginning of this show, we talked about January.
Oh, yeah.
January's a hard dip,
Coming
man. I
back.
think, yeah, it's not going to keep coming in like that.
Right.
December, you've got your customers that come in and, give you your little Christmas bonus or whatever,
Hmm.
and they get in that generous. Say, yeah, heck, I even see people tip the DJ in December, and that's.
Yeah.
Do you notice a difference in time change? Meaning, when you go into the daylight savings time one way or another, do you notice that affects people?
I think it does a little bit. I think when it gets darker earlier, it kind of makes people turn in sooner.
Yep.
Maybe they're not out as long. And then, of course, when we get a little bit more time and a little bit more sunlight, people want to be out longer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just the
Yeah,
way it
I
goes.
think I have to agree with you there. When you get the time change, first of all, that hour changes your internal clock something crazy.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, how many people are late or usually late either way
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
work for or
Right.
school or things? Because they
Yeah.
say it really does mess with your internal clock, regardless of
Hmm.
which direction it goes. When it gets dark earlier, you're right. People go out earlier because they're kind of subconsciously, this is about the time we would go out when the sun
Yeah.
goes down. But they don't last as long. They're not there
Mm.
as late at closing time. The opposite direction, when it's still daylight at 9:30 at night, people are going out later, but they tend to stay later.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And then one final question on the scheduling, and that is the weather. And this is a funny story. I've always wanted to ask people this question. I have sat in so many manager meetings in my lifetime in previous clubs, and managers are the worst for coming up with excuses for why it's slow. Well,
Hmm.
it's cold out. People aren't going out. Well, it's really hot out. People aren't going out. Well,
Hmm.
it's really raining, so
Yeah.
people aren't going out. Well, it's a
Uh-huh.
beautiful night. People aren't going to go out. I
Yeah.
mean, it's cold. It's hot. What?
Yeah.
So I'm just, what? Do you think weather really plays a factor, or is it more an excuse for managers?
I think sometimes both, but I
Okay.
think a lot of times it is an excuse because there are still people who go out. I mean, I know there have been times when I've been at work where the roads are just covered in snow. And
Mm-hmm.
people, this is what I say, if there is a will, there is a way. people, if you want to go out and you want to do something tonight, you're going to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times if that was already in your itinerary and that is something you wanted to do, you'll still do it. And if you're at the club and you're working and you're not, sometimes people get that in their heads, I think. And then because of that, when people walk through that door, they're not as excited to entertain.
Mm.
And then they're not earning the money from those people who just walked in the door because they're too busy pouting about how bad it is because of the bad weather, and then it's like, well, you missed your opportunity. You still could have been in a great mood and then
Mm-hmm.
wowed this customer and they would have spent all their money on you. But instead, you were pouting in the corner and you missed out on that. So,
Yeah, I think there's two things when it comes to the first couple of snows. The first couple of snows, yeah, I don't care if it's a flake or two. People go into panic mode. The only people that are busy are the grocery stores. I
oh,
half the
yeah.
time think they pay off, bribe the weather people to give us a prediction and build their business. But, the first couple of snows, people go into panic mode and they don't go out. Then
Yeah.
as winter goes on, all of a sudden you can have a blizzard and people are going out. But
Oh,
the
yeah.
one thing I have noticed, the people that do go out during the snow usually spend money. I mean, you're slower,
Yes.
but it's
Mhm.
like, okay, they tend to blow money like it's crazy.
Exactly. That's the thing. If they're going out of their way, fighting that weather to come in, they're there to spend money, you
Hmm.
know? And so you just have to look at it that way. At least the people who are turning up are there to do what you want them to do
Hmm.
and what
It's
you're
a
there for.
Yeah, a little DJ tip for all the DJs out there. One of my favorite things to do when it does snow is when I welcome people to the club over the microphone. And I always say, man, we want to thank you guys for braving the elements. We really appreciate you coming out here. You guys are the tough ones. You guys are and you're kind of
Yeah.
building them up a little bit. And they're like, yeah, I guess
Hmm.
I am pretty
Yeah, I
special here,
am.
huh?
He's
So
right.
that's one of my little tips that I do
That's
on the
good.
snow days. It makes the customer number one, feel appreciated, and number
Oh,
two, feel special,
good.
because yeah, you are better than those other people that are driving their Ford Fiat and can't get out their
Right.
driveway going downhill. They still
Yep.
make
And
a
they made
Ford.
an excuse and they stayed home.
Was there a Ford Fiat? No.
No.
I just made up a car.
There is a Fiat though, but I don't know the
There's a
brand.
Fiat and
So
there's a Ford Escort and a Gremlin
yeah.
and all those other ones I
Yeah,
was
there
going to
you
pick on. Yeah, a Ford Fiat. Yeah, okay. I'm sure somebody combined one somewhere. Well, Jade, I think we got some good information here on this one. Next week, you know what I'd love to talk about since we are getting into the holiday season, is Christmas in general, the entire month
Yes.
of December. I have people ask me questions. Should an entertainer buy a customer a gift? And
That
I
is
think we
a
should
great
talk about
question.
that on the next show. The
Definitely.
pros and cons of that, and things, and how to, keep your customers coming in and get them to spend money during Christmas time and holiday
Sounds
time.
great.
So we'll talk about that next week. Until next time, that's Jade. I'm Danny. Thanks.
Bye.